Mohammed Umar Farooq biological video. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Ask the question for answer and comment about the artwork. You can also question answer to each other for solving the problem. So today we will discuss about the digestive system. So the digestive system is made up of different types of organs in whole journey for absorption of food and digestion of food. So the here is the oral cavity which contain a salivary gland. This salivary gland is the partially digest the carbohydrate. So the amylopectin and amylose will be digested from the oral cavity is the partially that is the polypeptide polysaccharides will be formed. So here is the esophagus, which that is further run to the stomach by the uh, cardiac sphincter muscle, which that allow to enter the food into the stomach. But here stomach used to digest the protein in the form of polypeptides. So here is the stomach, and here is the pancreas, and here is the duodenum, which that is secrete the many more enterocyte brush border cells contain enzyme which secrete as well as lipase and pancreatic amylase enzyme and chymotrypsin and trypsin and trypsinogen will be released from the and carboxytrypsin is released from the pancreas. So pancreas also produce insulin and glucagon. So here is the we will discuss about the esophageal pipe open to swallow food, and that's go esophagus will be open, and that's peristaltic movement into the stomach follow to the stomach to allow enter the food into the stomach. So the peristaltic movement is the circular muscle and longitudinal muscle of the esophageal pipe will be allowed to move, expel the food downward, and gravity is also used for it. So here is the mouth contain amylase enzyme to digest the starch first, then pass into the esophagus. So there's food will be passed into the esophagus to convert into the bolus, and that bolus will go into the duodenum in the form of chyme. So that is known as chyme after the digestion of protein. So these chyme will be follow the going toward the defecation process. So here is the stomach which that digests the protein into polypeptides. Basically protein is made up of tightly bound of different polypeptides chains, and basically and further go into the duodenum. So here is the swallowing process in which the epiglottis will be closed, and these epiglottis are present in on the upper side of the trachea, and this epiglottis is basically on downward to close, and there's a bolus will be go downward into the esophagus, and there's peristaltic movement will go down. So here is the swallowing process will be used as a gravity and muscle use circular and longitudinal muscle by the antagonistically movement of the muscle contraction and relaxation. So here is the pancreas are present in the duodenum, beside the duodenum, and here is the duodenum and contain the first small intestine. So this small intestine contain pancreas which secrete the amylase, pancreatic amylase and pancreatic lipase enzyme and many more. So here is the pancreas produce enzyme, pancreatic amylase, lipase, chymotrypsin and trypsin. So remember about that things. These is used for the protein digestion, fat digestion as well as carbohydrate digestion. It means the whole set of the digestion are present into the pancreas. So you can say that here is the stomach anterior view, which that is show the anatomical aspect of the stomach, which contain a esophageal pipe, and here is the cardiac sphincter. that is look like that is are present in the cardiac region, heart region. So here is the anterior surface. Here is the body, is full body is covered by the upper layer is known as serosa. So that serosa is covered by the stomach. So here is the longitudinal muscle layer is showing in the figure, and here is the fundus region, which that is the back side of the stomach, and here is the oblique muscle, which that is neither longitudinal nor circular. It is oblique, which that is non-directionally movement, helping to the stomach to non-directional movement. And that is the layer overlapping. Here is the rugia, and here is the rugia means the that is the inner surface is lining is look like that is the which that is look like a duodenum. So here is the pyloric canal, which that's further ultimately go into the pyloric sphincter, and that is the pyloric region is here. So understanding of the duodenum is next our conversation about the duodenal wall, understand and how to produce the enzyme. So first of all, we will discuss is the stomach secretion. So what will be happen when stomach receive the food? So here is the stomach wall, which that's cross section of the stomach wall is showing that the upper part is known as mucosa, that is the inner layer, and that is it's also known as gastric pit, and this secretion is related to here, and that's contain a villi, and that is a finger like. So these pits contain different types of cells. So here we will discuss about the different type of cells. So first of all, I want to say that here is the mucosa inner layer, which does contain a finger like projection, and that is inside of the stomach is the first layer, and that's covered by the mucous membrane, and this mucous membrane will not will prevent to the attack of the acid, because stomach contain acidic region. So that is the 2.0 acidic pH are present into the stomach, but that's not damage to the wall of the stomach. So here is the some mucosa and muscle layer, three muscle layers, oblique, circular and longitudinal muscle layers, and their blood supply is also here. And that's here is I draw one pit contain, here is the different type of cells, and here is the chief cell produce pepsin, chief cell produce pepsinogen, and endocrine enteroendocrine cell is give the response for the digestion and stimulate to the production of insulin. So here is the parietal cell, which that is produce hydrochloric acid, which that stimulate to the pepsinogen to produce pepsin. Pepsinogen is the inactive form to activate by the pepsin, by the hydrochloric acid to produce pepsin. So here already here is we had studies that is a pancreas, and here is the duodenum, which that is known as small intestine contain here is the minor duodenal papilla, and here is the inferior duodenal flexure, and that is the here is the part of inferior duodenal part, and here is the fourth part is here, and that is the basically here is the third part of the duodenum, and here is the again we will discuss that is the fourth part. So this all thing is related to the anatomy, so you should don't concentrate it about it. So there's a kind of connect to the pylorus. So the beside of here the minor duodenal papilla is release the hormone from the pancreas. So here is the structure or the cross section of the layers of the duodenum. That means small intestine contain villi. So these villi is contain brush border cells, and these brush border cell is known as enterocyte. And here is the crypts are present. These crypts is secrete the uh, enzyme, and that secretion is produced. But on the other hand, that is secretion is also present from the micro enterocytes which produce here, which that is here is the enterocyte. Lymphatic ducts and blood vascular system is surrounded by the enterocyte is known as the finger-like projection, and that is the enterocyte is contain a microvilli is the thread-like structure is shown in the figure, and this thread-like structure is the special character to increase the surface area of the digestive system, because already there is valvulity type of the digestive system inside is the more increase the surface area, but even the more increasing of the surface area due to the microvilli which that are present into the brush border cells. So that is why here is the enterocyte which produce different type of secretion and absorption, which that produce sucrase enzyme and maltase enzyme, etc., etc. Also produce the dipeptidase and tripeptidase enzyme. So here is the large intestine. We will discuss about the large intestine. So the large intestines contain three part. Here is the appendix and here is the rectum. So it means the four part of the colon. It is known as large intestine. So here is the ascending and transverse, descending colon, and here is the another is the sigmoid colon. So that is also known as the sigma shape. So that is why it is known as sigmoid colon. So these large intestines contain is used for the absorption of water, mineral, ions, as well as that is the fat is uh, come from the bile acid or bile secretion which secrete the fats which that can be 10% reabsorbed. And here is the small intestine contain duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So here is the bacteria which that is make a microbiome into the in our gut or in our the large intestine, and this microbiome is very important, helpful if such as E. coli and other anaerobic bacteria play symbiosis to benefit to human. So this all thing is produce the fatty acid, vitamin K, and some vitamin omega 3 fatty acid, which that is created by the bacteria. And bacteria is also use glucose by the lactose or milk or a simple sugar, which that use which was our waste product is used as energy from the bacteria, which that is helpful and that is a friend our digestive system. Or some bacteria is harmful, but here we will discuss just the helpful bacteria which provide the facility to vitamin and fatty acid. So here is the liver is the general metabolic part of the digestive system, and that's food detoxification and some metabolic activities used as well as produce bile pigment for the emulsification of fat into the duodenum by the secretion of uh, fat. So also stomach, also duodenum contain hydrogen bicarbonate enzyme, and sodium bicarbonate enzyme is produced from the oral cavity to parotid gland, which also digests the carbohydrate. So here the light energy convert into the chemical energy in the form of protein, carbs and fat. When we will consume this fat, and this fat will be consuming of this fat to break down in our digestive system to produce. Here we will discuss about the selection first of all, breaking down into small molecules. So selection and thus mastication to digestion as well as absorption and ultimately assimilation in our body. It's the part of our body and used as an energy, as a mechanical energy. So the all thing is done here. So thanks for watching.